Hi, thanks for joining me today. I'm Andrea. We're going to be painting a springtime painting, and there's going to be flowers and grasses and a fence post and a terracotta pot tipped over. It's just going to be very reminiscent of springtime and growth and newness. So what I use is the primary colors in latex. It's red, yellow, and blue, and then black and white. And I'll show you how to mix everything up to get the exact color that we need. All right, let's get started. So first we're going to take a wide brush and we're going to be doing the sky in the background. So it's kind of like a purplish bluish light color. So what we're going to do is you want to take the wide brush and you're going to pick up this white color here. And then you want to mix a little bit of blue into it. And then a tiny little bit of red on the corner of your brush. Just to give it a hint of a little bit of a purple kind of color. And you don't even need to mix the paint completely perfectly on your plate, because when you're putting it onto your canvas, the different shades and the different colors make it look so much more personal, and it makes it look actually like art. So I'm going to be going across the top. And I actually want a little bit more red in here because I feel like I wanted a little bit more purple. So I'm going to add just a little bit of red into this light blue to give it a more purple shade. Now I'm coming all the way down the side. You only really need to come to about here because that's where the ground starts. And on this side, same thing. Come around the corners, round the corners a little bit, and then I'll show you how to blend all this in. Now that you have the outer edges done, you're going to grab more white, pick up a good amount of white, and mix that in with the color that you already have mixed over here, the purplish blue. And that'll give you a lighter version of that color. So we're going to go inside here and we're going to fill in with that color. Now, you're going to need to dip your brush into water because doing that will help the paint really flow onto your canvas. So I'm taking a wet brush, I just dipped it in water. Now I'm taking that and I'm working this wet paint over into the lighter blue color. So it's pulling that dark blue over into the lighter blue. Need a little more water. Pick up some more of your paint. I grabbed a little bit more white. And just work it in. I ran out of paint, so I have to mix a little bit more. So I'm gonna grab some more blue, more white. Now remember, the center is much, much lighter than the outer edges. I always like to keep the outer edges a little bit darker. So we're grabbing a bunch of white. And a tiny little bit of red. Remember, it takes over everything. It's a very strong color, red. Outside with this color. And this is supposed to be the sky in the background inside the garden. Now I didn't rinse my brush, I just dipped it into the water. So I'm taking the wet brush to work this wet paint at the edge that's darker. I'm bringing that over across, pulling it from the edge over into the center more. Now I'm just picking up just white and go right into the center here and deposit that white in the middle to make it a lighter, brighter blue in the middle. Now I'm going to take some white and a tiny bit of red to give me a light pink color. And with this, I'm going to put in a little cloud. So you're taking this brush, you can turn it sideways so you get that edge, and circular motion. Top of the cloud in the center is the highest circular, like a circular shape at the top. And then you come over next to it and make a smaller circle shape, kind of looks like a heart. Another one over here, and then they get smaller. Just a little one here and a little one there. And you're just like that. Now if you have too much paint on your brush, you can rinse your brush off and go back in and feather the cloud out a little bit more and soften it up if you like. But I kind of like my cloud just like that. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do another one. So just circular motions, and there's not a lot of paint on here. That's why it's not real opaque. It's not real bright. It's blending in well with that blue because there's not a lot, and the blue is still wet, so it's kind of helping it to blend better. And then softly, I'm just softly pulling the bottoms of these clouds so that they look like they're real soft. And do a big one right in the middle. Now, the outer edges aren't quite as dark as I'd like them to be, so I'm going to darken up the edges a little bit. So what we're going to do is mix together that same color that we mixed in the very beginning. We're not going to put a whole lot of white in with it. I still have that light color on my plate, so it's helping to mix in with it. But we want it darker than what's on there now. So I'm just coming in from the outer edge. Oh, it's lighter. Just coming in in with more of that color to blend it in a little bit better. So now we're gonna put in the ground, where the ground's gonna be. We're just gonna put in a line quick so we know where it is. So I'm picking up black, and I'm using a small tapered brush to pick up the black with. And the ground line is going to be somewhere around here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because that's gonna be covered with all kinds of grass and different things. But we just want to make a little quick outline of where things are going to be so we know where to concentrate our creativity, so we're not painting lots of stuff that's just going to be covered over anyway. So we want to make sure we're making good use out of our creativity. Don't want to waste it. You know, Bob Ross says, well, I know the trees back there. I always think, why does he cover everything with trees? I know the mountains are back there. Okay, so now we're going to put in just the outline of our wooden post, and we're using that same round tapered brush, and you want to dip it in water and mix that in with your black. So we're taking our round tapered brush, and the fence post, it's pretty tall, so it's going to be about here. So that's the top of the fence post. And from there you just come straight down. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Actually, it shouldn't be perfectly straight because nothing in nature, wood, trees, flowers, all of it. Nature is not perfectly straight. It's not perfect. It meanders all around. So this edging does not have to be perfect. It's wood. It's changed over time. It has all kinds of characteristics that are not going to be straight up and down. So if you get it all crooked or off kilter, don't worry. You just go in and do it, work on it till you're happy with it. Now there's going to be a post that comes down at an angle. Again, this is just the outline right now. And then there's going to be a fence railing here. And one down here. Now, I'm going to fill this in with the black color. So, same brush, I dipped it in water. Now I'm going to scoop up a bunch of black. And see how I'm letting a little bit of that blue show through? Just so it's not solid black. We don't want to block things in. We want to let all kinds of colors come out of them and show through and have texture and movement. That's what it's all about. Not a robotic looking image that looks like it's perfect. because it was created by a robot or a machine. This is natural. And we're going to come down this one. I just like to make sure the very outer edge is kind of solid to define that edge. But once again, coming down with the black lines and letting some of that background show through, just a little bit. We're going to go back over it with some highlights too, so it's not going to stay just like this. All right, the basic outline of the fence post is put in. Now we're going to take this same brush, and you want to dip in the water and mix your water in with the black a good amount. You want a lot of water in there, so that way it's nice fluid, that it has nice movement, that you can get the nice ends of the grass coming up and off. So we're taking the brush, we're going to add water to the black, so that it can make those nice grasses in the background of this. So see, I've mixed my water in with the black. And as you come up to the top, you're going to pull the pressure away from your canvas and just lift off and pull away so that the line gets smaller at the top. So we're going to start out over here. Don't worry about going through the black on your post. That's just there to let us know not to waste our time making lots of nice pretty things there, because it's going to be covered over. But we're going to go right through that post with our black, so don't worry about that. It looks like I even need more water on mine. And there's going to be like a terracotta pot down here. So don't even worry about that section right now, because we're going to paint over there. We're mostly concerned with from here up. So grass goes a couple of different directions when it's not going to go all in the same direction. Most of them are going to kind of veer this way just because you're giving it that flow over there. But crisscross, I even need more water. You almost need like an airbrush and paint. Load that brush up with as much paint as you can. It'll help with the lines. And there isn't going to be grass here. The pot is going here. So the grass is going to continue in front of this. In front of the fence post. Put those grasses in that cross over the other ones. Now, on this side, there's going to be grass here also, but this is going to kind of be covered by flowers. We're going to do the grass straight up anyway, right up behind these. Now you're going to rinse your brush off. And now you're going to dip your brush in yellow. So mix some water into your yellow. You're going to go right over the black lines that you just made, but you don't have to follow the black lines. You're going to do the same thing you did with the black lines, just you don't have to follow. Make your own ones, make your own grass blades with the yellow. I always like using yellow and black because it gives such a natural looking green color. You can even start out right at the top of your fence there too. Now remember, the very tops of the grass are going to be the brightest yellow because that's where the sun is hitting the most. So you can come down from the top if you can have a little light touch, come down from the top to highlight the tops of your grasses. Now you're going to rinse your brush, and we're just going to take a little bit of blue over here, and we're going to mix some of that yellow in with the blue. That's going to give us a nice vibrant green color. And you can throw in a couple of little blades of grass here and there with this color. Especially where there would be shadow from the fencing. It looks really good when there's a lot of blue near there, because blue is a shadow color and it helps it really look like it's shadowed when you put the blue in there. So you're starting out right near where the fencing is, and this blue color doesn't really go up to the very tops because that's highlighted by the sun with this light yellow color. This bluish green color is more down here where the shadow is, just to add that depth. And above this post, right where it starts. See how it's kind of giving it that nice shadowed effect? Here. So you're gonna rinse that brush off, and we're gonna switch back to our wide brush. And we're gonna take yellow and just a little bit of red. This is gonna give us an orange color. So we're gonna come right across the bottom here. And see the different colors? That's perfect. You want that. Pick up a little bit more red for right here under this line. I'm going to come down with the red a little bit into the yellow. Ooh, a lot of it, apparently. Just blend it together. You don't have to over blend it because those lines of different color are perfect. That's exactly what you want. It gives it character. Looks like something's going on. Shadowing. Okay. Now I'm going to take this wide brush with a little bit more red. There's still that orange color on the brush, but I picked up a little red. And I'm just going to make short brush strokes coming down underneath this post, like it's creating shadow. And over here. Now with that same orange color, you can come down on the wood with the brush, with the orange. You can come straight down, or you could turn your brush sideways, whichever you feel more comfortable about. So it's red and yellow with that orange color coming down the post. Wood isn't just one color. There's a lot of different colors in wood. So red and yellow, again, red and yellow. And you see how it's not mixed fully? There's yellow and there's red in there. That's what's giving those nice lines of different color as I pull across here. You don't want to go back and keep trying to mix it in. You'll lose that nice dimension to the wood if you do that. Just bring it across, and if you're happy with it, let it be. So while I have this orangey color on my brush, I'm going to dip this brush into a little bit of white. And I'm gonna come around the top to kind of highlight. So I have my brush sideways and I'm just dabbing it across to make this highlight around this side of the fence post. And then you can go around the other side and do the same thing. And then turn your brush sideways and come straight down the side just to highlight and define where it is. And then you can come over and do a couple more. Skip a spot. You don't want to do them right next to each other. Just skip a spot. And then we're going to do that to the top over here. So I went across sideways and then I turned my brush wide and pulled across just to bring that white into it a little bit. And over here on this one, down into it. Good. Nice. Now, I'm just gonna lighten up the top, give it a little bit of something going on here. Now we're gonna put in a little knot. So I rinsed my wide brush off, and you're just gonna pick up black, just black. And I'm gonna go right into the center of my wide post. So it's kind of like a sideways eye. It goes wide in the center and back. And then you can fill that in with that black. Do another small one over here. Again, starts out narrow, like the shape of an eye. And a lot of the time, I'll keep going. A line mimicking the same shape around it a little. Rinse your brush. Now we're going to be going back to our tapered brush. And we want to mix up a little bit of like a terracotta color. So we're going to need yellow and red. And a little bit of white. And a tiny bit of black. If you have this purpley pink color, you need more yellow. There we go. That's looking more like a terracotta color. Yellow cancels out purple. If something's too purple, you can add a little bit of yellow to it. If something is too yellow, you can add a little bit of purple to tone it down. Anything opposite the color wheel cancels and neutralizes each other out. So the clay pot, we're going to do the shape. Here's the back of it. And then it's going to come down. so we're just going right across. Right over there. Now the rim is wider. So the rim of it is going to come around wider than your clay pot. Now it's on the ground, and there's going to be some grass and flowers that come up around that part. Sometimes you have to play around with the shape until you get it just right. So this clay pot starts out rounded here at the base, and then you're going to come up at an angle. I'm adding more red to the outside. And then picture that rim coming down. So this rim is the widest point of this pot, and it's coming down below the ground level. This is going to be covered by flowers and different things, but this is going to come down like it's coming towards you. You want that darker color at the bottom. And all that little stuff going on there, that's great. It makes it look like an old pot that's seen some action. It's been around the garden for a little while, right? Now the inside, you're going to start out all this here. It's going to be filled in with black on the inside. Play around with it till you get it to where you feel like it looks good. So if you'll notice, the inside isn't a perfect circle. It's more like an egg shape or an oval. Don't pay too much attention down here because we are going to be putting in grass and flowers and things underneath this pot. But while you have the black on your brush, you're going to put in, I'm going to mix a little bit of black with some of that terracotta color that we mixed up, and then put a shadow underneath that lip of the little pot there. brush. Now you're going to mix up a little bit of a lighter version of the terracotta. So you're going to take some of that color that you mixed up already and mix some white into it to give you a much lighter version. And then we're just going to highlight the rim. So you're going to come down to right about here and just put some of that light color on there. Mine is kind of blending in. And while you have that light terracotta color on your taper brush, let's highlight the knot in this. So you're just going to go down around the side of it. And highlight that. And then this one here. You can even do another line inside. Give it a little dimension. There. All right, now we're going to switch to our fan brush. So you're going to take your fan brush and pick up black. And this is going to be greenery that goes all around the base here. So we're going to dab. So you're wish wash back and forth as you're dabbing this black on. So we're covering the base down here with this greenery. And come across here with it. Wish wash. Back and forth, kind of cover up that shadow line a little bit, soften it. And back here, back behind the pot, and inside of it. It's spilling out. Now, while the black is still on your brush, pick up some blue. I have black and blue on here. It accidentally picked up a little white, but you know what? I'm going with it. It's good. Happy accidents. So the blue gets dabbed on under the black to soften it up. That's the shadow color. Now you're going to rinse off your brush, the fan brush, and you're going to pick up yellow. You're going to take your yellow and you're concentrating on the very top of where you put this black. And once again, back and forth. You don't want to dab too close together. You just want to highlight the tops and leave some of that dark in between. Because if you keep dabbing right next to each other, I'll show you. Keep dabbing right next to each other like this, you're going to end up with a blob. So you don't want to do that. Don't blob yourself. Don't blob your art. So you're going to skip a spot every so often, concentrating the most on the very tops where all the greenery is highlighted by the sun the most. The art of restraint. Nice. I like it. You're going to rinse your fan brush. And then we're going to go back to the tapered brush again. We're going to put some more grass in because we're going to put some flowers on the new grass that's in the foreground. So you want your tapered brush again, and you're going to mix water in with your black. You get it nice and fluid. We're going to start over here, and we're putting in our grass shadow. This is more to shadow the grass, make it a nice background for it. All right, now you're going to grab the yellow. Like before, you're going to rinse your brush first. So now we're going to grab yellow and a little bit of blue to make a green color. So this is going to be that lime green color again. And just go right over. You don't want to go directly over the black that you already have there. Go across them. It adds a lot of dimension. All right, now rinse your brush. So we rinsed our taper brush. Now we're gonna mix up, we're just gonna pick up some white. So we're gonna do some daisies on here right now. So you wanna fill your taper brush with white. We're gonna use the shape of this brush to create the petal edges. So the direction that the petal edge is the direction that you hold your brush. Remember, there's going to be a yellow dot in the middle, so you can skip a spot in the middle, leave it blank in the middle, I should say. And they don't have to be perfectly round. Put as many or as little as you want. If you like daisies, put lots of daisies. Now see how the white isn't completely opaque? You can kind of see dark through it. Leave it like that. That's what you want. That gives it dimension. couple smaller ones to really make it look a little realistic. Now while you have the white on your brush, I'm just going to put in a couple little flower clusters up here in the grass. And all it is just, you're just dabbing the white. You're going to start out with a top one, and then you're just going to dab the white so that there's two of them coming down, and then just leave it. So it's just little dots. And you can find like a blade of grass or something that can be the stem for it. It's just one at the top and then a few side by side. And they look like little flower stems. Now that the pot is dry, we can go back in and put a little bit more highlighting in it since it was too wet before. And take some of that light pink that you just highlighted that with and put a little bit down here just to break up that yellow just a little here and there. We're just breaking up that yellow color a little bit. Now for the center of our daisies, we're picking up just yellow with our taper brush. There's green in mine. So I've got yellow with a tiny bit of red. You can use just yellow if you want. Just dab right in the center. Bloop. Now you're going to take your fan brush and we're going to grab white over here with a little bit of red. So you get a nice pink color. And we're going to put in just little flower top like that, like those little weeds that grow. Same as the white, you just pick out a spot, pretend there's a stem there, or look for something that looks like a stem and come up from that. How nice that is. I like that. Now for the last step, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but we're going to put a little tag on there so that way you can put your family's name. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of yellow with white, if I could find any clean yellow on my plate. And a tiny bit of red. See how red takes over? A tiny bit of red. Yeah, okay. You think? All right, more yellow to bring it back into the beigey color. So we're gonna have, it's gonna be like a a sign hanging here with a name, and it's an oval. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's even more character if it kind of hangs crooked. Let's make it hang crooked. Yes. Now this is like an old sign. It's out in the weather, so once again, it doesn't have to be totally opaque. It shouldn't be opaque. There should be some stuff going on there. All right, now we're gonna put a red, kind of mix a little bit of yellow in with it. Some red with a little yellow in there. This can be any color that you want it to be. It's just to add a little interest and trim and dimension to this sign. All right, and then you're going to take black on your tapered brush, mix some water into it, and go around and make that shadow. And you can even pull some of that shadow down onto the wood. Now you're going to go back to your fan brush. We're going to put a tiny little bit of greenery just around the edge of this sign. So you take your fan brush, a little bit of black, do greenery here, just a little bit coming up the sides. So you have your black in there, and then you're going to dip into your yellow. Like we did down here, we're just dabbing the yellow a little bit over the black so it looks like greenery. We're going to go back to our tapered brush. We're going to do daisies again. So we'll put 2 here. And then the orange center. Now you're going to switch to a fine detail brush. And with that, this is what you'll write your name with. Or you could even use a Sharpie marker if you don't feel comfortable painting your name on. You can definitely use a Sharpie marker to Sharpie your name on there, and it should stay long enough, plenty. But I'm going to paint on the cord or the wire that's holding this sign on. So we have a little hole here and a hole here, and that wire comes up and around your you rinse your detail brush off. Grab some white and then highlight the wire with white. Now we'll put in the name. I'm just going to use Smith's. If you want to make it kind of country-ish a little bit, or if you don't like your writing, you can go and add extra little tabs on the ends of all your letters. And it kind of makes it look like that country style writing. And I'm gonna go a little extra. You just put a little heart right there. With love. The Smith's Garden. All right, that's about it. It's all done. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you had any problems with anything. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for joining me and painting along. Have a wonderful day. Bye.